Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining, and today we are discussing verse number 39 of chapter number 1 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And in previous few verses, Arjuna is giving 3 reasons why he doesn't want to participate in this war. So the first reason he gave was compassion, and the second reason he gave was enjoyment. He will not be able to enjoy if his family members are all dead. And the third reason he gave was fear of sinful reaction. And here, verse 39 onwards and next few set of verses, Arjuna is going to describe the destruction of family. He sees the reason of destruction of family. So he is going to systematically give his argument in this next few verses, including today's verse. So let's read the verse. The Sanskrit goes as Kulakshaye pranashyanti kula dharma sanatanaha dharma naste kula kritsnam adharmo abhibhavati uta. The translation goes as, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in religion. So Arjuna begins with the argument of Kulakshaye pranashyanti. Arjuna is telling Krishna the first line, Kulakshaye pranashyanti. So what does that mean? He's saying, what will be the effect of the result of fighting this war? What is going to actually happen? So he's saying Kulakshaye. Kulakshaye means the Kula or one's family lineage. Shaya means it is the family dynasty, the Kula or the family or the dynasty. And Shaya means destroyed, is going to be destroyed. So Pranashyanti means they are going to be destroyed or vanquished. So by fighting this war, the family will be destroyed. And what happens when one family or dynasty gets destroyed? Then he's saying Kula Dharma Sanatanaha. So the Kula Dharma or the family tradition or family duties, they will also be destroyed. So here he is using the word Kula Dharma, which is actually a bodily dharma. And he is also using the word Sanatana. So Arjuna is kind of confused at this point of time. So he is saying Kula Dharma is Sanatana. But actually Kula Dharma is not Sanatana. Yeah, Dharma Naste means all the religious practices, or the next line, which is Dharma Naste Kulam Kritsnam. So all the religious practices or religion will decline. So Dharma Naste is the meaning of Dharma Nashta. So here we see, and then the final line is saying, then what happens? The final line is Adharmo bhavati uta. Meaning, when the religious goes down, irreligious goes up. So he's very nicely and logically explaining what is going to happen when this war is going to be fought. So though we see that Arjuna's mind is so overwhelmed with compassion, and he's giving different arguments not to fight, basically he's in a confused state, but still he is presenting such a logical flow of arguments, and this nobody can beat. Actually, it's really amazing how Arjuna is presenting these sets of arguments. So he is saying that the dharma is going to be destroyed. Kula Dharma, which he is thinking that Kula Dharma is Sanatana, is going to be destroyed. So let's understand what is dharma. Right? So dharma is that which is our inherent quality. For example, the inherent quality of fire is heat, and we cannot remove heat from fire. Similarly, inherent quality of water is liquidity, and that of sugar is sweetness. So that which cannot be separated from the thing is the inherent quality, and that is actually the dharma. So then the question is, what is our dharma? So here Arjuna is saying that Kula Dharma is Sanatana. So how Kula Dharma can be Sanatana? Because we are not this body actually, we are soul. So Kula Dharma is based on the body or the family. So it cannot be the family Dharma, which is this for this one lifetime. Since it is bodily, it cannot be Sanatana. So what is Sanatana? So Sanatana is the Atma Dharma, the Dharma of the soul or the living entity. That is actually Atma Dharma, and that is Sanatana. So rest all the other Dharma which is not related to the Atma, these are all temporary. So we are soul and we are temporarily put in this body. So based on our body, we have certain dharma that needs to be done. But what is the dharma of a soul which is eternal? So the dharma of a soul which is eternal and ever existing is to love and serve the Supreme Lord. But because the soul is experiencing this body, it has a set of dharma related to the body. And they are not as important as the Atma Dharma, but they still needs to be performed. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, he is explaining that the Varnashram system, right? This Chatur Varna, there are 4 Varna and then there are 4 Ashrama. So this Varnashram system, which Krishna explains in the 4th chapter, he is saying Chatur Varna Maya system, means that Varnashram system, which is the system for the body, right? The not for the soul, is actually established by Krishna himself. So he is saying Chaturvarna Maya system, and how he divided that, he is based on guna and karma. So what are these varnas and ashramas? So in the previous session we discussed something related to the varna and ashrama. So today we'll go to try to understand it in more details. So there are 4 varnas and there are 4 ashramas. So those 4 varnas are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra. So if we compare what is Brahman to our body or Kshatriya to our body or different bodily parts, then it can be like the Brahmana is like the head or the brain. So Brahmanas are basically intellectual class of society, for the society. They are the intellectual class for the society in general. And what is their duty? That they give spiritual knowledge and they actually engage themselves in Pathan, Yajan, Dana, Parigraha. So all these things, their duties are actually described. So generally the Brahmanas, they are not charging money. They are not working or giving this knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, for earning money. They are normally maintained by the kings. So their purpose is to give spiritual knowledge, which is very important to the people in general. So they are just like the brain. The next class is the Kshatriya. So Kshatriya is like an arm. So they are meant for protection. And they lead from the front. They just don't hide behind the soldiers. Like here we see all the generals, they are right in the front in the battlefield. So they are the administrative class and they also protect the citizen. The third class or sections we can say is, or the third varna is the Vaishya. So Vaishya is like a business class. The Vaishya is like a belly. So what is their duty? So their duty is Krishi Goraksha. Goraksha is protection of cows, because cow is a very important animal for the human beings and for the earth in general. Cow is protection is very important. And the other duty they have is Krishi, means agriculture. So they should have a very simple living and high thinking philosophy. And one of the things which they should be always engaged is in charity. Even the Kshatriyas should be doing charity. So charity to the other Brahmanas, and in other, parts of the society, they need to do the charity work. And the final one is the Shudra. So in the current contemporary society, the Shudras are considered as untouchable. But according to the Vedic culture, the Shudras were not actually untouchable. They are meant to serve others. So they perform their duty nicely and the society actually needs them for general functioning of the society. So this was the varnashram system. This is actually, we have described the 4 varnas, and then there are 4 ashramas. So those 4 ashramas categories as the brahmachari, then the grihastha, then the vanaprastha, and then the sannyasa ashrama. So what is the purpose of the ashrama? The purpose of the ashramas, or those 4 categories, is to fulfill the bodily needs as well as the spiritual needs. So the first ashrama is the brahmachari ashrama, or the student life. So as soon as the child is born at the age of 5, they are sent to a gurukul. Like the schools which we have now. Earlier there was a system of gurukul. Then they will take a shelter of a guru. And then the guru actually teaches all kinds of things based on the tendency of that kid. And one of the important thing one has to maintain during the brahmachari period is celibacy, then sense control, and understanding the shastras or the scriptures thoroughly. These were all the things that happened in a gurukul under the advice of a guru. The brahmachari used to study the shastra and then control his senses, and then follow the celibacy, the rules of celibacy. And after the graduation, once the graduation of the brahmachari is over, if the brahmachari wants to get married, then the brahmachari needs to take a permission of guru, and then with the blessings of the gurus and elder, then he will get married. So this is the first 25 years of the life. Then the next 25 years of life, the brahmachari spends in grihastha ashram if he gets married, right? Or he can continue to remain as brahmachari, right? So the grihastha ashram is then the ashram in which the brahmachari gets married to a very nice and chaste girl. And the goal of the grihastha ashram is the spiritual destination. Both of them actually come together with one purpose, that is to serve the Lord. So one just doesn't get married to enjoy their senses. If that is the purpose, that they want to enjoy senses in the grihastha life, after getting married, then that is called as griha medhi. It is not grihastha. Grihastha means the life in where the husband and wife are following all the spiritual rules and regulation, and their center of their life is the Lord. So that is from age 26 to 50. That is the grihastha life. And then gradually the man starts cutting down on the responsibility and give more responsibility to his dependents and enter into the third stage, that is called as vanaprastha ashram. So in the vanaprastha stage, the person goes more to the pilgrimage places, then engages more in bhakti. Basically in the vanaprastha stage is preparing to disengaging from all the material responsibilities. He is practicing to do that. So this is from age 51 to 75, and the last 25 years of the life is called as the sannyas life, where the person renounces all kinds of household responsibilities and then leaves the wife under the care of son and make the family members all self-sufficient, and he renounces everything and focuses fully on the ultimate goal of life, that is the spiritual life. Basically is practicing spiritual life in full bloom. So as we see, the varnashram system is not based on janma. It is based on guna, that is quality, and karma, that is work. And for example, if there is a doctor's son, he cannot be considered as a doctor because the person has to go through medical school and get through all the training to become a doctor. So like a doctor's son cannot be a doctor, similarly a brahmana's son is not a brahmana, right? So the whole purpose of the varnashram system is based on guna and karma. And the ultimate goal for all the varnas and all the ashramas, basically the person following whatever varna or ashrama, it is God-centric. So this was all designed by Krishna himself. That's why Krishna is saying Chaturvarna Maya system. I designed it. I created it. So in the last two lines, again, what is Arjuna saying? Dharma naste kulakritsam adharmo abhibhavati uta. So earlier in the earlier two lines, what Arjuna is saying is, what is going to happen if I fight in the war? The family or the dynasty will get destroyed. And then what will happen? The family tradition will get destroyed. And then in the third and fourth line is saying, when the dharma will go down, what will happen? The adharma will go up. So when the kula dharma is destroyed, then adharma will arise. So in this world, we see that there are these two terms, dharma and adharma. They are always in conflict. Right? Dharma is always under attack by adharma. So this is what happens, the fight between dharma and adharma is there in the society, it is there in the nation, is there in the universe, there in all the universes. So when we read the scriptures, we see that there is always a fight between dharma and adharma. So this is what Arjuna is saying, that when the dharma will be nashta, or the dharma is destroyed, the irreligion will become more existent. So the purpose of this whole war was to establish dharma, and Arjuna is saying that by killing his relative, the dharma will be destroyed and adharma will flourish all over the kingdom. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada has to say in this purport. So first point Srila Prabhupada brings is the purpose of Varnashram institution. Right? So we discussed about Varnashrama in brief. In this system of Varnashrama institution, there are many principles of religious tradition to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. So as we discussed, now we see here Srila Prabhupada is saying that is the purpose, to attain spiritual values. Basically when you establish a system that has a purpose. So the whole purpose of the Varnashram system is to gradually elevate the living entities from lower consciousness to the higher consciousness. So higher consciousness are based on the soul, that is called as, there are two again, we can say that the Vedic culture can be categorized into two dharmas. One is apara dharma and one is para dharma. So apara dharma is the dharma of in a lower level of dharma, and para dharma is a higher level of dharma. So para dharma is dharma of the soul, which is we discussed earlier, and apara dharma, in which the kula dharma is a part of apara dharma. But one has to follow this kind of dharmas in order to maintain the society. So Varnashram system is also like that, but the center is again to bring or to help others, all the person following the Varnashram system, to help them to attain actually spiritual values. And who helps them to do that? The elder members of the society. So the elder members are responsible for such purifying process in the family, beginning from birth to death. So elders in this society, they have a responsibility of helping their dependents by this purificatory process. So what is this purificatory process? They are called as samskara. So there are like 16 main samskara, but there are actually totally 40 purificatory process given in the scriptures. So samskara means purificatory process or purification of the souls. What purification happens is the consciousness of the soul is purified gradually. So there are totally 40 samskaras, and of them 16 are major. So I have given this 16, or put in this picture 16 of them, which are very important. And some of them, before the conception, the samskara is called as Garbhadanam samskara. And then during the pregnancy, there is Punsa Vamsam, that is called as, this is a samskara at the 3rd month of pregnancy. Then Srimantam, this is done for the protection of mother and child before the birth. So if we see, there are all these samskara one after another. And then here we see one of the samskara is Vivaha samskara, that is marriage. That is also actually a samskara, And then when the person dies, that is called as Antim Samskara or final rites. So similarly, when the child goes and the name giving ceremony and then the first time feeding solid food. So we experience this in our life, some of us have gone through experiencing this kind of samskara. So there is a reason for doing all this. So the reason is that the soul will gradually get purified by performing this samskara. So this is given in the Manusmriti. Out of 40, 16 are main. So this must happen in one's life, right? And who does all these things? So this is done by the elder member of the family. The elder member are responsible for such purifying process in the family, beginning from birth to death. So we have seen the whole cycle. Before birth, actually it starts. So what happens on death of elder members? So Prabhupada says here, but on the death of elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, because people may not know. So who is going to do all this samskara? And the remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits. So once the samskaras are not done, then person has a tendency to what they have actually acquired from the last life. So that those tendencies they bring up or they fructify in this life and they manifest in some or other way. Or basically they develop irreligious habits. Right? So when the samskaras are done, then the chances of this getting development of this irreligious habit is less. And when the irreligious habits are developed, then they lose the chance of spiritual salvation. So thereby lose their chance of spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should the elder member of the family be slain. That's what Arjuna is saying. So if we kill them, then whole of this cycle is going to be disturbed. And the purpose is to set up dharma. But by killing the elders, adharma will be prevailing after some time. So this is what Arjuna is discussing in this particular verse. So with this we'll stop here and we'll continue with the further points which Arjuna is going to give. Actually Arjuna is going to give 6 reasons. So fighting will cause family destructions in the following 6 steps sequence. So the first one is death of elder member. Second one is family tradition stops, irreligion will increase, and then thereby they lose chance of spiritual salvation. So he'll continue this particular argument in the future verses. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.